From Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield on the other side. We're going to go to the fourth quarter where it's a 17-17 tie between these two.
Beaming
I
in the
know,
background.
Dan, you love it. At 13 minutes left here, 2nd and 2. Jameer Gibbs, 29 yards for the touchdown.
Just the suddenness that he has. I mean, Winfield Jr. is an all-pro, and he gets up on his toes and runs away from, doesn't get touched until he gets to the end zone. Just an electric run.
114 yards in the game. Fourth quarter, 6 minutes left. First and goal. That was
perfect.
a dime. That was
Absolutely
pretty.
perfect. Man coverage, you get a little bit of a switch release. That ball is a pearl from Jared Goff.
31-17 Lions at that point. Fourth quarter, 4 minutes left. 2nd and 10. Baker, a dot to Mike Evans.
Baker played well, and Mike Evans, off of some early drops, a big contested catch on the post in the end zone.
Evans had 8 catches, 147 yards in the fourth quarter with a minute left. 2nd and 5. Baker Mayfield intercepted by Derek Barnes. You saw his reaction. You know it hurt. He said it broke his heart to lose this game, but the Lions win, and they're headed to the NFC Championship for the first time since the early 90s. What a start to Jared Goff's postseason career with the Lions. He's just the 5th player ever to throw for at least 550 yards with 0 interceptions in his first 2 playoff games with the team. He joins the guy he was traded for, Matthew Stafford with the Rams, Tom Brady with the Bucks, Josh Allen with the Bills, and, of course, Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. Dan, how did the Lions scheme yesterday set Goff up for such success?
Yeah, they majored in the pass game high-lows. They put a bunch of people short and then had people coming behind, and they were just putting defenders in conflict. Multiple options at the bottom of the screen. It's fantastic. They got Gibbs next to Jared Goff. 3-by-1 at the bottom. What they're going to do is have what we call a pivot and then an in route up top. Now it's zone defense. You're reading this deep to short. He's putting that conflict defender. If that defender decided to stay low, he throws it behind. If he goes back, he throws it short. He stays low. Jared Goff replaces him with that in route. That was really the premise of it. Josh Reynolds' touchdown. He has what we call the end line. Get it 1 yard to the end of the end zone and break it in, and then a short by the inside receiver to get right to the goal line. You get in vision of that underneath defender, and you throw opposite of that underneath defender. If he stay deep, you throw it short. If he stays short, you throw it deep. Fantastic. This was the theme for Ben Johnson, putting those really hook and or zone defenders in conflict. Jared Goff was very good with his eyes, ball out on time, and everyone was on that wide receiver or tight end's face.
Yeah, and for me, I love that you started with Jameer Gibbs' alignment because I think he's the catalyst of this offense.
Yeah.
If you go back to that Monday Night Football game versus the Las Vegas Raiders when David Montgomery was injured, that's when we started to notice who Jameer Gibbs could be within this offense. We thought he'd be a gadget guy, someone they had to use in different and various ways just to get the football in his hands, but he's turned into a guy who can be an in-between-the-tackles runner. We've seen him on the perimeter. He's also been huge in the pass game. And I remember sitting at the draft and us returning to the stage the next day and saying, okay, you picked Jameer Gibbs 12th overall. That seemed a little high for a running back. Now looking back at that draft, that was a great move by this team. He's added a dynamic aspect to this run game. And when you think Jameer Gibbs, you go Brian Branch in the second round, also Sam Laporta and Jack Campbell. Go ahead, Mimi.
Stop. Every time.
So Brad Campbell, the GM, he gets a lot of praise, deservedly, for this draft, as Ryan laid out. But I want to highlight his very first draft pick in Detroit the year before, the right tackle, Penei Sewell, because I could not take my eyes off of him in this game. Him and Jameer, because, yes, to quote Marcus, that big fella was moving. When they pull him to the left, power counter, whatnot, here he's in pass protection. But when they pull him, I am telling you, there might not be a better tackle on the move in football right now. The speed, the physicality, what he was doing for them in the run game was spectacular. And I'll tell you what, San Francisco's worried about that based on what we saw this weekend and then what we saw in this particular game, him pulling and clearing the way for Gibbs.
It never fails. We've been doing this show together for a while now, and my spirit animal, Mina Cabs, always comes out in the playoffs and start talking about the big fellas because it always matters. Okay, and here's the other thing: the way that Dan Campbell speaks about this team, he actually defines it when games are going on. He actually lives up to all of the things that he says to us in the media and to his football team. Y'all, this is 4th and goal. If you don't get this, it's points off the board. Dan Campbell doesn't draw up anything intricate. He doesn't draw up anything that's going to try to confuse the defense. He ran right at Vita Vea. And this offensive line and the movement that they were able to get on this particular play, I think personifies who the Detroit Lions are. That's why, you know, as I heard Dan and RC talking this morning, and me and MK talked about it as well, that's why we think this team can go to San Francisco and legitimately have a chance to win the football game. Because of the line of scrimmage and because of their belief in their line of scrimmage. It's going to be a great NFC championship because this thing is built in the image of what Dan Campbell tells us all the time.
Have you started thinking about the Lions in the Super Bowl yet, or you're not there?
I think I'm going to pick them to win. So yeah.
Okay. Wow. There we go.
I also don't know who the comp is for Jahmyr Gibbs. We got to figure that out by the weekend.
From a explosivity standpoint, it's Chris Johnson to me. But in the pass game, I agree with Marcus. He could be used like Marshall Faulk. And we also sometimes forget how dynamic LaDainian Tomlinson was as well, catching the football.
Man, those are some pretty big company names to be in. All right, still to come, the 49ers.
この薄汚ねえやつはこの着物まさかこいつ